championships. Let's go back to 1984 and the glory of the Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Bart Connor and his teammates on the victory stand as they celebrate the first ever team gold medal for the United States. And Mary Lou Retton, she was the Cinderella in '84, completing that perfect 10 on the vault, and then an encore 10 as she won the first ever man or woman gold medal in the all-around in gymnastics in the Olympic Games. And now they join us this afternoon in Kansas City as we culminate the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. And I'm first of all going to give you one of those coaches' hugs just to see how that felt, because we all wanted to embrace you in '84. And I'm sure the glow still lives on.
Oh, it certainly does. I don't think the glow will ever leave my body, especially coming back to championships of the USA. It really brings back the memories fresh into my mind.
All right, the new #1 in the eyes of the gymnastic aficionados is a 15-year-old, Christy Phillips, also coached by Caroli.
Christy definitely right now is #1 in the country. She's very strong, she's confident, and of course she's consistent. That's really the main key. But one of her main competitors is not here, which is Phoebe Mills. She's out with an ankle injury. And Christy is going to have to watch out for Phoebe, because Phoebe's going to be hard-working and she's going to come back in '88.
On the men's side, a couple of war horses, a couple of your teammates in 1984. Scott Johnson is still involved, and Tim Daggett. And I'm kind of curious about who the other men might be that will make up the team in '88.
Well, there are a couple of interesting notes for this event. First of all, Scott Johnson is back, and he looks stronger and more confident than I've ever seen him. I know he'll do well here. It's nice to see Tim Daggett competing as well. Tim had a very serious neck injury earlier this year, and he's back in pretty good form. He's not all the way there, but I know he needs to get back on the competitive floor if he's going to really give a good progression as we head for the next year and a half into Seoul. One of the other exciting notes about this competition, we'll have an opportunity to look at some people who I feel could fill the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th spots on the men's team, and that will be very important because those people will help provide the depth for our team in '88.
Our first event today, the individual finals, women's vault, the leaders and their scores. The average of today's 2 vaults will be added to that preliminary score for the final total. And here's Rhonda Thane. She trains in Houston with Bella Caroli, with teammates Christy Phillips and Phoebe Mills.
Rhonda is a tremendous vaulter. Just round off back handspring, tuck full. Good vault. It's sort of a warm-up for Rhonda. She's going to throw a more difficult one later.
Okay, now second one, a big one, okay? Pull it out as much as you can and get it, okay?
Watch the height Rhonda gets on this vault. She pushes, gets good propulsion, and she is so high, and the landing's easy for her.
It's already been an exciting week for Rhonda Thane. She scored a perfect 10 in this vault in the all-around. Christy Phillips also with a perfect 10. Those are the only 10s for a U.S. woman since 1984.
And technically, this vault is perfect. She just has to catch the landing. And she tries a little too hard.
Let's get Caroli's comments.
I missed it. All right. Good job.
Well, you missed it, Mary Lou. You must have meant just the landing. Everything else looks pretty good.
He certainly did. The vault was really spectacular in the air. She got height and distance. Her body is perfectly straight. Very high. And then she tries a little too hard to land it.
What's the hand placement have to do with the vault here?
Rhonda places her hands towards the front of the vault, which helps her because she has a bigger body.
9.90, an outstanding score, an average of 9.863. That means that Christy Phillips needs an average of 9.85 to better her teammate Rhonda Thane.
And if anyone can do it, Christy can. She has really started to become a pro at landing these vaults. And she did it!
Yeah, little kiddo. The second one, you'll run now, like hell on the second. You got to run for this one.
Boy, he just doesn't let up.
Technically, Christy's vault is very good, but she just doesn't have the power that Rhonda has. But she sticks that landing perfect. Notice Christy's hands on the vault. They're more on top of the horse, which could be a factor of why she doesn't go as high.
First score, 9.825. That means she needs a 9.875 to pass Rhonda Thane. You know she's capable of it. She proved that with a 10 in the all-around.
And of course, she's going to be concentrating on the landing. She Didn't do it this time. Took a big hop back. It's going to cost her at least a 10th.
Like a 3%.
And the judges scored a 9.825, leaving Phillips behind Rhonda Fame, both Caroli pupils. Another is injured, Phoebe Mills.
Stevie, we've been talking about the importance of this national championship here as everybody's heading into the Olympic effort in '88. I know you're not competing. How disappointing is that for you?
Well, it's really disappointing not being able to compete in one of the biggest meets for this year in the country. And, you know, I really miss being out there, especially when I'm here watching them all doing it. And I know how much I love gymnastics, and I just want to get out there and do it. But I have to just make it through this time and look forward to my next competition.
Now, what is your schedule in terms of recuperating from this injury? How far along are you before you can actually be full strength again?
Well, right now I'm just going to take like a week or two off, you know, to just not doing really any gymnastics, to let it heal the best it can. And then I'm going to go back into the gym and see how it feels. And if it feels okay, I'm going to go for it.
And in that gym, she'll be with her teammates who are 1-2 in the women's vault, Rhonda Fame and Christy Phillips. Third, Joyce Wolburn, a 16-year-old from Paterson, New Jersey. Meanwhile, the men's floor exercise just completed and won by 23-year-old John Sweeney, former Arizona State All-American.
John is an excellent tumbler. He opened with a full-in, double back in the tight position. One thing that's great about his style, he's very complete. He has excellent back tumbling, and as you can see here, beautiful front tumbling. Front with a full through to a double full, punch front 1 1/4.
11th in the all-around in this competition. John Sweeney, the gold medal winner in the floor. Scott Johnson second. Mike Rice of Oklahoma third. In 1984, 16-year-old Mary Lou Retton had never won a senior U.S. women's title. The final event, the vault, and just as the all-around went to Olympian Scott Johnson, using a strong rings routine to win his first national all-around.
Scott literally blew away the rest of the field here. He won by more than 2 points, which is one of the widest margins ever. One of Scott's most important strengths is his work on the still rings. His compulsory exercise was unbelievable, and here on his optional exercise, he shows excellent position in the handstand, perfect lockout in the giant swings, and he finished the exercise with a perfect laid-out pull-out.
Former University of Nebraska star Scott Johnson, #1 in the USA. Here's Mary Lou.
Scott, I remember what it was like when I won my first USA championship in '84.
It's wonderful. It's another great accomplishment that I've always dreamed of, and this is the longest one that it's taken me to achieve, so I'm real pleased that it happened this year. I've had a real successful year, and this is just the icing on the cake.
Had Scott Johnson scored a 9.65 in the high bar, he would have set an all-time record high score in these championships. But Johnson fell on the dismount, settled for a 9.30. The silver in the all-around goes to the acrobatic 22-year-old from Newhall, California, Charles Lakes, and third in these 87 nationals, 84 Olympian Tim Daggett, remarkably recovering from a serious neck injury in February.
A couple months back, everybody that I talked to, all the doctors, trainers, and athletes said that, you know, you've had a great career. It's a shame it had to end this way. And just to get here and to come out this successful, it feels great.
I would like to know, you were up on high bar, you were getting ready for your Ginger, the same trick that you hurt yourself on. What was going through your head?
Well, you know, at this point, you really have to put that out of your mind. If I had a fear factor like that, I would be in trouble, not just on high bar, but I think throughout gymnastics. And, you know, I decided that I want to continue. I said to myself, nothing is going to put me out of the sport. I've had a good career, and when I retire, I want to sit down and I want to say, it was great, and I'm finished now.
Well, a courageous return for Tim Daggett to take the bronze. The winner, Scott Johnson. Charles Lakes is second, Tim Daggett third. Christy Phillips, the pride of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, lived up to her ranking in the women's all-around, her first national seniors competition. 4 events. She had a big finish in the floor X.
And Christy really shined on floor exercise. Her favorite event ends with a nice high pike double back somersault, and she was happy.
That same kind of play to the audience and the relationship with Coach Bella Caroli that you had, Mary Lou Retton, and that led her on to the vault, and this is the vault that earned her the perfect 10.
And she deserved a 10 for this vault. Nice high, and she stuck that landing cold. And I know what it feels like to go get that bear hug from Bella.
And a standing ovation salute from the Kemper Arena audience at the halfway mark of the optionals. 2 rotations to go. Christy Phillips with a .76 lead over Missy Marlowe. Led Missy Marlowe of Salt Lake City and Hope Spivey, who trains with the Parkettes in Allentown, Pennsylvania. On the uneven bars, here's Phillips' routine, on which she scored only a 9.4.
Christy had a lot of difficulty on the bar. She started out nicely with a good reverse hex. And here, look at this handstand. She should have gone over. But she used her talent to cover up the mistake. Going nicely again. Getting set for her dismount. Which, if you'll notice, when her feet hit the mat, her hands are still on her legs, which causes her to take 2 big steps back.
And so, a disappointing 9.40 for Christy Phillips, opening the door for Melissa Marlowe.
One of the critical points, the dismount is nice and high, but notice the hands are still on the sides of her legs when her feet touch the mat, which causes her to over-rotate and take the 2/10 deduction.
A disappointing 9.40 for Christy Phillips, and that opened the door for Melissa Marlowe. She was on the balance beam, but hoped to catch Phillips, lost almost immediately on her mount.
Melissa started out with a very difficult mount. She lost her balance and fell. Now, Missy knows that she's starting her routine from a 9.5, and that's very difficult, but she regained her composure and really finished with a strong routine with a score of a 9.0.
Nevertheless, a lost opportunity for Marlowe, so Phillips continued well ahead on course for the national championship as she moved to the final rotation, one of her strengths, the beam.
This is Christy's best event. She was so confident and so sure of herself during this routine. She had a critical move coming up, which is the round-off layout. And if you watch, her hips are completely square. Here it comes. She does the round-off, the back somersault. Perfect. She was so sure of herself. She's very confident. Her hip placement on the balance beam is technically one of the best I've seen in the world. Back straddle down. And again, Dick, here comes the move that you were questioning. It's the Phillips.
That's just anatomically impossible, especially what she does here. Oh, my.
Her back flexibility really is incredible. Not many gymnasts have it. Christy had one critical skill left, which is the side summy. It's quite difficult because you have to land sideways on the beam. And the judges allow for that little bobble because it is on the side. She has her dismount left. She did a high double pike back somersault. The landing was very good.
Her coach liked it. And at this point, they knew they had solidly won the 1987 U.S. Gymnastics title.
Christy runs over to get the hug from her beam coach, Marta Caroli.
They scored at a 9.6, so Marlowe knew in her final rotation, the floor exercise, that she was now battling Hope Spivey for second place.
Nice high double twist. She really finished strong.
15 years old, she has that ballet elegance of some of the Soviet gymnasts. 9.45, the score for Marlowe. So Spivey in third place, also on the floor exercise, knew a solid 9.55 could earn her the silver. But the spunky 4'8" Spivey lost that chance almost immediately as she fell on her second tumbling pass. Christy Phillips had her first U.S. title.
Well, Christy Phillips, you finally put it together in a meet where it really counts, compulsory and optionals with the senior elites. Has to be a terrific win for you.
It felt great. You know, coming back for the third year in a row, maybe hoping to win, because I won last year and I won in the children's also. And, you know, I was hoping I could win this time. I just wanted to really just put it all together and do the very best that I could do.
Well, Bella, your protege, put it together on a day that it really counted. This has to be a big win for Christy Phillips.
It is. It is a big win. She wanted so badly, so much, after all the frustration last year, when she was the best gymnast, no question about it, but she was considered just a little junior, even though she won everything. McDonald's American Cup, beating the Russians. Now, finally, she got what everybody's looking for, the senior champion of the United States. That's great. I'm excited.
As solid as her coach's enthusiasm, Christy Phillips, the champion of the United States, #1 in 1987. Melissa Marlowe finished second. Sabrina Marr was third, competing with a bad back. The Southern Californian gets the bronze, and with the fall, Hope Spivey finished fourth. Coming up, the uneven parallel bars. We're back now at the McDonald's United States Gymnastics Championship. Uneven bars, first up in the McDonald's USGF Championship. In fourth place, Christy Phillips, .15 behind Marlowe.
She starts out with a straddle over the low bar, getting ready for her reverse hex. Nicely done. Now here's the handstand she missed in the all-around. She makes it over easy this time. She was prepared. Christy's moving very smoothly. All she has left is her dismount, which is a double pike flyaway. She's going to be concentrating on the landing this time. And she sticks it. Very good routine by Christy.
Well, remember, she had a 9.4 in the all-around. This one has scored a 9.60, and here's the leader, Missy Marlowe.
Missy is a totally different type of bar worker than Christy. Missy is very smooth and long to watch. She has long arms and long legs. It looks very pretty on bars. She also is getting ready for her reverse hex. Nice high above the bar. Going to do a Kamenichi dismount. Nice landing, a beautiful bar routine. To dismount, watch how high she goes above the bar. Her body is way up there. And she kicks out and sticks the landing. Watch Missy's hands on this reverse hex. She pulls the bar back, lets go. Her head looks down, and she catches the bar again in perfect position.
Well, she needed a 9.475 to retain the lead. She gets a 9.80. Next up, Michelle Dussert, a member of the 1984 Olympics team with you, Mary Lou Retton. She was only 4 feet 11 inches then, and the youngest member of your team. Now she's 18, and she's grown 5 inches.
I give Michelle so much credit. She has hung in there for so long. And it is quite difficult to have such a drastic change in height. Your body is totally different. She has longer legs and longer arms, and it is difficult. But she's handling it great. Routine has gone very smooth. Now this dismount is quite different than the double flyaways you're seeing. She's going to do a double twist. Very good landing.
Michelle Dussert scores 9.625. That ties her with Christy Phillips. That brings up Sabrina Marr in second place after the preliminaries. She scratched another final event. She's had a bad back, missed 5 days of practice the past week, but wants to compete in the unevens.
I understand why. Sabrina is a very explosive bar worker.
She needs a 9.90 to take the lead.
And I think if anybody can do it, Sabrina can. She is so powerful in this event. Reverse hex so high. And she's got another release move coming up, which is a gingle, which is usually done on the men's horizontal bar. All Sabrina has left is her dismount. She really needs to concentrate on the landing. Double flyaway. She didn't do it. 2 steps back. That's really going to cost her.
Indeed it does. Sabrina Marr, 9.55. Coming up from Kemper Arena, the Pommel Horse. Championships, the Kemper Arena crowd acknowledging the winners of the women's unevens. 1984 is the year prior to the Olympic Games, the U.S. Gymnastics Championships, the Pommel Horse, the event. Tim Daggett of UCLA and West Springfield,
beginning of the routine, which we didn't see back in 1984. This is new stuff, And let me tell you, this is unbelievably difficult. It's called a Magyar spindle on the end in flares. He's a very aggressive performer. He moves quickly across the horse, has nice, clean form, and his style is so explosive that it makes this event that was used to be considered a boring event a really exciting event. Look at the thrashing legs on those flares and a perfect dismount.
What an exercise by a man who feared an injury in February had ended his career.
And the 9.775 on that routine put Tim Daggett and my Olympic teammate as well, Scott Johnson, first and second, and Curtis Holsworth from UCLA third.
And now the capricious balance beam. Today's score will be added to the preliminary for the final total. Christy Phillips in the lead. This treacherous, feared apparatus 4 inches wide. Tied for second, the oldest at 19, woman in the competition, Kelly Garrison Steeves. She just completed her sophomore year at the University of Oklahoma.
Little bobble on the mount there, but it was a good try. She had a very difficult mount. It was with a full twist onto the beam and into a series of 2 back handsprings and a solid back tuck. Beam is Kelly's favorite event, and she just seems so comfortable up there, such ease.
Takes chances, too, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. She has a lot of unique skills, different things that you don't see elsewhere. Works on her toes. She does a lot of good work on her toes on the beam. Only 4 inches wide, and I can tell you by experience, when you get up there, it seems a lot thinner. She's got a major trick coming up here. It's called a cartwheel into layout. Very straight, very solid. Just a little leg kick in front. Should only be about a 10th deduction for that.
Oh, that was nice.
It's a nice shoulder roll. Again, it's very unique. She does different things. I think the judges like that. See something different. Ready for her dismount. Round off double full. And that was a perfect landing.
A solid finish for Kelly Garrison Steeves after a difficult and almost shaky start.
It was. Kelly did a very difficult mount, and she did the bobble, which would cost her at least 2/10. Watch Kelly's feet. One is placed right in front of the other, right where they should be, and into the double full dismount to a very, very good landing.
1987 NCAA all-around champion at Oklahoma. Her score, 9.60. Coming up, more of the best. Welcome back to Kemper Arena, Kansas City, Missouri. Dick Enberg with gold medalist Mary Lou Retton and Bart Conner from '84 on the road to Seoul. These are the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. The balance beam, individual finals in 6th place, Missy Marlowe.
And this is the mount that she had trouble with in the all-around. She didn't have trouble this time. It was very well performed. Her hips were straight.
Missy studies ballet twice a week, and it is really reflected in this event.
It does. It really shows. She's a very elegant beam worker. Her movements are a lot slower. That's just Missy's style. There's a nice gainer back layout. To 2 leap series. That is a requirement now on the balance beam. 2 leaps in a row.
70 to 90 seconds, the requirement to perform on the beam, and a bell will sound with 5 seconds to go.
Back walkover, straddle down.
She's so elegant at times, she forgets she's just 15 years old.
She really works with a lot of maturity. She's traveled all over the world and does have a lot of experience. straddle jump on the side. That's very hard to land because it is on the width of the beam. And that's a pose my competitor in 1984, Ekaterina Szabo, did. Hear the bell. She only has 5 seconds to get off of the beam. Double back somersault. Nice routine for Missy.
Yeah, the key was the mount. She fell off trying to perform that mount, and the all-around, it cost her 0.5 of a point.
Watch her hip placement here. It's straight this time, and in the all-around competition, her leg went up and she fell off.
Little backward step on the dismount, however.
Yes, it was nice and high, and she just wasn't ready for it. She took 2 steps back, and that's a 10th each step.
The judges liked it. 9.70 for Missy Marlowe. That's the best optional score on the beam in this championship. Next up, Christy Phillips. She's the leader on the balance beam at the McDonald's 1987 U.S. Championship, and she loves this event.
Watch this mount. It's almost inhuman what Christy does. She presses up to a handstand. She'll bring her feet all the way around and place them between her hands.
The keen Romanian eye of Coach Bella Caroli. Always there. Did that bother you, his omnipresence?
Not at all. In fact, it was always gave you that confidence, that go ahead.
Communication between mentor and pupil.
Back straddle down. Christy only has 1 required skill left in the routine, but first, the famous Phillips.
Good.
Incredible
Wow.
Christy's back flexibility. She's the only one in the world doing that skill right now. Getting prepared for the side semi. Straight hips. Very solid. This really has been an incredible beam routine. Incredible meet for Christy. The dismount. A nice high double back somersault. Good landing for Christy Phillips.
That was a great one. Bella Caroli, Mr. Positive.
This is one of the highest dismounts I've ever seen Christy do. Watch the takeoff from the beam up into the air. He's so high up there into his landing. She is such a pro at these landings. Her mount, Christy's mount. She does a press up to a handstand. Her hands are about shoulder width on the beam. Now she's going to bring her toes around, all the way around, and place them between her hands.
This is definitely an oh my. And remindful of another Olga Korbut. She introduced those back bend moves in the Olympics of 1972. What a score, 9.80 for Christy Phillips as she wins the finals, the balance beam, defeating Kelly Garrison Steve. By the way, Phillips now has medaled in every event in which she's competed, only the floor X to go. Melissa Marlowe is third. Over at the rings, no surprise there, Scott Johnson tearing up the competition in this event.
Scott really did just rip through another ring routine. I have such a tremendous amount of respect for him as a competitor on this event because he shows all the important qualities. He's a good swinger, and yet he's very strong. This was undoubtedly the most difficult event for me. I could never quite do it just like this.
Look at that position.
Perfect form, excellent swing, and look at the height on this dismount.
And the fans here in Kansas City loved it. The veteran Olympian Scott Johnson fully recognizes the value of relating to the crowd, and he readily admits he plays to the audience.
It gives me a little bit more confidence, especially if the crowd is backing you up 100%. I think that was a big asset to us winning at the 1984 Olympic Games, was that it was in Los Angeles, we had our home court, and the crowd was just chanting USA. You know what that was like. And it gives you a little bit more confidence, and of course you try to play to that a little bit, and it makes it a lot more fun.
A gold to go with his all-around for Scott Johnson. In the rings, Chris Love, the Penn State All-American second, and UCLA's Mike Chaplin third. Coming up, more Sportsy Phillips in the lead, going for her third gold. Stacy Gunthorpe and Melissa Marlowe.
You have to do it. You gotta go. Like hell in it. Okay. Try to breathe. Try to dance at night. Feels nice. Or breathe it. Try to breathe. Try to relax before the last one. Okay? No.
Fellas reminding Christy to save her energy for her last pass because it is the most critical one.
Christy Phillips has so much to remember, including, as you know, Mary Lou, playing that smile to the very top row.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with, you know, how the crowd appreciates your routine that you just did. And, you know, I like to smile. It's, you know, it's fun, and it really gets me in a better mood, and it just helps my performance.
And here is Christy Phillips looking for another medal. She has not been denied in the entire competition. She leads by .15.
She's going to start out with the pike pull in. Little low, but she pulls it around. This is a new floor routine for Christy. Kind of hoedown music. Seems like Christy really enjoys herself out there. And she does need to take breaths in the corner. They're very important because it's a fast-moving routine.
Powerful, 50, powerful.
Double back somersault, high one.
Good job.
You notice the change in the music. Now it's Christy's time to breathe. Catch your breath.
Good. Okay. Right, fantastic.
All she has left is her last tumbling pass, which should be a pike back somersault. Moving away to the corner. Take that deep breath.
Okay, breathe, breathe, breathe.
Good landing. It's very high.
All right.
Woo.
All right. Good job. Okay, good job. That was a good one. All right. Go ahead. Salute the people. Salute the people.
Now, she can go out and salute the crowd at Kemp Arena, but she couldn't in an international meet.
No, you may not go back out onto the floor and acknowledge the crowd. It would be a 3/10 deduction.
That's the written rule.
So watch how low Christy is to the floor. Her head and feet are almost parallel to one another. A lot of gymnasts really couldn't pull this out in the end, but Christy is talented enough that she makes it look good.
Yeah, she's only 15, but remember, she started tumbling when she was only 4 years old. 9.65 the score. That'll make Christy Phillips tough to beat in the Floor X. In the competition as an alternate, Hope Spivey, Kelly Garrison-Steves withdrew. Her routine is to the music of Cats, and she has the leotard to match.
Hope might be tiny, but she is powerful. Her tumbling really gets up there. She gets them up in the air.
I love her energy level.
She is. She's fun. She should start out with a full in-back somersault. Very high. And technically, it was very clean.
Donna Strauss, her coach in the background, urging her on.
That's that. This is the pass that Hope fell on in the all-around competition. Come on, Tom. Well, that, yeah. You made such a correction there. Very high again. I really like the choice of music Donna Strauss picked for Hope. It fits her perfect. To the corner. She still has another tumbling pass left. Double back somersault. Breathing time for her. Come on, breathe, breathe. Come on. Set. Set. Very high again. All right.
Bravo. Brava, brava. That was a delightful routine.
All right. Good job. Thank you. That was excellent. Belongs in Hollywood. Feel better now? Yeah. From University of Nebraska at Lincoln, this is Bob Silver. Did I look catty?
Did I look catty? Well, any good cat knows how to land on its feet.
And she sure did. This is her second towing pass, the front somersault, the double back somersault, and landed right on her feet.
9.80 for Hope Spivey, and that's a significant mark for the women, the best score in this competition in the floor exercise, and more to come. Number 2. Earlier, we saw Ice Cream Eating John Sweeney capture first in the floor exercise. That was his pralines. Here's his cream, a double gold. He wins the vault.
Now, this is the second of 2 vaults for John Sweeney. His first one scored very well, 9.65. This was a laid-out Tsukahara full, really clean in the air. 9.55 for that vault.
And the average of 9.6, good enough to win it. Sweeney of Houston, the winner. Robert Sundstrom, a junior at the University of California, Berkeley, second. And the bronze to Penn State, Spider Maxwell. Coming up, more United States Gymnastics Championships. Back in Kansas City, Missouri, with the McDonald's U.S. Gymnastics Championships. And 15-year-old Christy Phillips has certainly been the star of this competition. A comfortable lead in the floor exercise. Here's the young lady in 6th place, Joyce Wilburn. She needs a 9.925 to take the lead.
Joyce is a real crowd pleaser, and I think everyone just likes to sit back and watch her.
Wilburn from Passaic, New Jersey. She was the only gymnast from the Western world to medal in Moscow in last year's Goodwill Games.
Joyce is so explosive. She's going to end with a full in-back somersault, which most of the girls started out with. But she steps out of bounds.
Five feet tall, 95 pounds of energy. 16-year-old Joyce Wilburn turning on this audience in Kansas City.
She's so explosive. Watch the height. She's so high. The landing looked good, but she just took a big step out of the line, which cost her a 10th.
Spectacular, but with mistakes. A 9.60 from the judges. This crowd and Scott Johnson would have given her a 10 on appeal alone. The total drops Wilburn behind Hope Spivey in 3rd. Here's Stacy Gunthorpe, currently in 2nd place. She needs a 9.825 to take the lead from Christy Phillips. Her routine to the music of Paganini.
This is a new routine for Stacy. It's more dramatic. Full in-back somersault for her first pass. Nice one.
A leggy, 4 feet 10 inches tall. She's 16 years of age from Freehold, New Jersey. She finished 7th in the all-around.
She probably would have been a lot higher if she'd been able to improve on her balance beam work. She had a couple falls that really cost her in the all-around standing. A little short on that second pass. She kicked it out a little too soon. Christy's dance really has improved. It's not as choppy as she used to be. Everything seems to be flowing more. Ending with another double back somersault. And again, she did the same on the second pass. She kicked it open a little early.
Stacy Gunthorpe showing her athleticism in the women's free exercise. Let's look at one of those passes.
She gets a lot of height, and technically this is a good full in-back somersault. Perfect landing.
That will keep her in second place with a score of 9.70. So the final standings in the women's floor exercise, Christy Phillips wins another gold, Gunthorpe is second, and Hope Spivey from an alternate moves up to capture the bronze. Earlier, we had a little fun with the competitors. What animal would they like to be?
A cat, and then maybe I could stay on the beam a little more. Like a Binti dog. He seems to be loved by all, and that's what I would want to be.
A tiger, I guess.
Why?
A tiger, because they're tough and they're mean and they go for it all the time, and that's the kind of person that I am.
A cat.
Why?
Because it's my floor music.
I would be a lion because they're strong, they're sleek animals, and they're kings of the forest. Or is it the jungle?
I like to be a monkey because I get to swing around on trees, and bars are my favorite event, and I swing around there.
Well, I think in 1983, some commentator from some network, I don't know who it was, coined me as the raging bull. So if I was going to be anything, I guess I'd have to be a bull.
I'd be a tiger because they're real strong, aggressive. They've got what it takes.
And Scott Johnson wanted to be a tiger, and he's been tough and mean in his own way.